Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm here with a week 2 recap for my League Start Explosive Trap Trickster. I'm at the point now where I've done all the bossing content I aspire to every league, and I want to share a few things. First, some tricks I've learned in Affliction. Second, a quick inexpensive crafting guide to the Temple mod gloves I'm currently wearing on my build. Third, a primer for Selfchill and the way I have Endgame set up. And lastly, what my plans are for the new Transfigured Explosive Trap gems. And here's a hint, it's probably not what you think. Timestamps are available if you want to skip around. This league has been incredible and will probably go down as one of my all-time favorites. Even without min-maxing my character fully, I've got enough damage that I'm insta-phasing all Ubers, I'm tanky enough that I just chill in Uber Shaper ball hell, and I'm fast enough that I'm turning around 2.5 minute Uber Shapers. I haven't done some of the in-game crafts like a 7-link helmet, but you can see my PoE in the description if you're curious where I'm at. First, let's talk about some amazing new tech this league that is a dramatic improvement over the old Guardian's Blessing. Several people individually shared this with me, thank you all for reaching out. It's a replacement for the Summon Holy Relic using Raised Spectre and the new Dark Marionette corpses. First, let's take a look at the corpse. It reads, reforms after being killed, which means once the Guardian's Blessing degen vaporizes the summon, it will respawn without requiring a summon automatically. A level 13 Raised Spectre gem gives you 2 of these, and if you stagger their health by switching between auras when you first summon them, you get the aura of your choice for free until they both die simultaneously. This even persists across logouts. I've gone 20-30 minutes without having to recast my free aura because I'm just boss rushing invitations or fighting Ubers. It's delightful. I highly recommend if you are still using Summon Holy Relic to swap over. It costs almost nothing to do. The corpses are like 3C on trade right now. The next thing I want to do is a quick crafting guide for my Temple mod gloves. A ton of people have asked me how I made my gloves, and I want to show you exactly how here. If you go to trade and look for any Temple mod, it doesn't have to be the chilled one. In fact, the chilled one is going to be the most expensive. The other two are added fire damage against burning enemies and increased crit strike chance against shocked enemies. Either of these is fine because we can do a res swap to get chilled damage. So just search for something on a T1 or T2 base. I prefer the ES bases because our ES pool is our best defense. And so I'm looking for Arcanist gloves or Sorcerer gloves. Now I bought this pair of gloves right here for 3C just a minute ago, and I'll show you what I did with them. When you're looking for these on trade, you want to find the Temple mod with one other suffix that you want. It doesn't have to be res, it can be strength or dex or life regen or whatever. The cheapest ones are going to have filled suffixes, so I buy a cheap one and a 30C split beast to try and isolate the Temple mod with the second mod I care about and an open suffix. Before you go into the menagerie, if your prefixes aren't filled, it's important to bench something on the gloves. It doesn't matter what it is, you just need a random prefix. This is because when you split an item, if there aren't enough mods on the final split item, it will be magic and you'll have to YOLO regal some random affix on it. Once we've isolated the 2 mods that we care about, we're going to bench suffixes cannot be changed and then go over to our harvest bench and reforge chaos. Chaos res is one of the harder things to get on gear, and this is one of the easiest ways to do it. So I will almost always roll chaos res on my gloves in this exact manner. And there you go. That's exactly how I finish the suffixes on mine. Now that we have the suffixes we want, we can do a res swap to get the cold damage mod that we care about. And you can also use this res swap tech to switch back and forth and divine the number up to something closer to 50% than the 32% I have right here. The final step is pretty simple. I just roll a higher tier of Searing Exart implicit on it, and then I'll use Eldritch Chaos to roll at least one other mod that I care about. Sometimes it's life. Often it's energy shield because I'm always looking for more energy shield. And then I'll bench fizz to cold and then finish the implicits last. I'd like to take a minute to talk about the 2 most popular ways to set up the endgame version of this build. I love Selfchill and it's how I always play this build, and it's because on top of the 30% more damage, it provides a metric ton of movement speed, and the faster I can turn around bossing laps, the more currency I can make. Selfchill is a combination of 6 things. First, you need a trigger weapon. I have a crafting guide for the trigger weapons I use. It can either be an unveiled on your alternating scepter or your offhand, be it a rapier or another scepter. Second, you need a level 1 forbidden right in your trigger weapon. This causes you to take a hit every 4 seconds from yourself of chaos damage, which thanks to Call of the Void turns that into a chill effect. Third, you need a Call of the Void and a Winterweave ring. One turns your self hit into chill, and the other reverses the effect of chill to grant you plus 30% action speed. Fourth, you need enough chaos res that you don't kill yourself. That is important. Fifth, you need a small amount of life regen to offset the chaos hits you take every 4 seconds. Now here I'm using a Restless Ward, which grants me 225 life regen for my endurance charges. There are other ways to get it on gear. For example, a single T2 suffix on your chest is enough to entirely offset it, or you can stack some life regen percentage from Lethal Pride or maybe a rot resistant Chaos Cluster. And lastly, you need Lethe Shade on your passive tree. Without it, you only get 2 seconds of chill and only half the uptime. With Lethe Shade, your self-chill is up 100% of the time. The other very viable endgame strategy for pushing damage with Explosive Trap is with Herald stacking. Instead of Call of the Void Winter Weave, you'd grab Circles of Guilt with Herald buffs. Each ring can be 15% or so more damage, and you probably also want Herald of Ash so that you could run Purposeful Harbinger on a Herald medium cluster. You can pretty efficiently stack damage this way, but more damage isn't going to help you run the Feared faster if you're already insta-phasing them, which is why I tend to prefer the self-chill variant. Question I have been getting the most by far is, what am I going to do with the new Transfigured gems? I've spent an inordinate amount of time trying to make something better than the normal Explosive Trap with Magnitude, and I just can't seem to find anything that I like. It's pretty satisfying big boom, but it's just nowhere near the damage that the additional smaller explosions provide with any recipe that I've been able to come up with. If you've solved it in an interesting way, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below or reach out to me in game and we can theory craft together. Shrapnel, however, is incredible for clear, and since this is the best MF league in the history of PoE, I'd be remiss not to give it a go. With my current gear, I've sorted out that I can produce between 25 and 30 million pinnacle DPS, and since traps inherit your stats like increased quant and rarity, I've put together an MF Shrapnel Trapper. The biggest piece by far is the amulet, which provides a truckload of quant and damage thanks to the new focused amulet from Heist. I'll be leveling up some gems in a 5-way and taking them to the temple to try and get a 2120 shrapnel. With the gear in my inventory here, I should have 87% quant and a few 100% increased rarity, which is on par with a very good MF bow build and likely a lot more damage without needing a mirror bow. I've run some test maps to see how the clear felt with Abyss and an 8-mod Delhi map, and it felt very strong. I have no idea where this is going to take me, but sometimes you got to go with the current, and this is shaping up to be an all-time Magic Find league. I'll keep you posted on how it turns out. Before I go, I want to give a big shout out to all the people who have just wanted to chat with me about Explosive Trap. I'm passionate about it, and it scales well enough that you can play it in several different ways. My buddy Drushki is deleting Uber Cirrus for comical amounts of currency. I know people who are playing this in hardcore. I know people who are doing the exact opposite and going juice damage glass cannon. Thank you all. It's been a really great experience chatting with all of you. I'll let you know how the Magic Find thing goes, and until then, I'll see you in the next video.